ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਦੀ ਘੱਟ ਗਿਣਤੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੈਂਟ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸ਼ਕਤੀਸ਼ਾਲੀ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਸਮਝਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਈ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛੇ ਜਾਣ। ਅੱਜ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ 'ਚ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਦੇ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਆਨਰੇਬਲ ਜੌਨ ਮਕਲਮ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਨ। ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, ਵੈਲਕਮ।
Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much for coming to our studio.
Well, I'm very happy to join you.
And tell us a bit more about this visitor visas. A lot of people are saying that Chandigarh office is rejecting a lot of them, saying they would not come back. There's no travel history. Those two reasons are giving time and again. What's being done?
Okay, this is a big problem. It's been a problem for many, many, many years, and we are working on it. There's been something like a 30% increase in applications from India in the last year. So partly it's a question of heavy pressures on the system. We are moving more people to Chandigarh. We are having Delhi take over some of the work in order to bring down the processing times. And in terms of the high number that is rejected, we are also working on that. There's a problem, according to auditor reports, of fraud in Chandigarh, and so we're working on measures to deter that and also to change the rules so that people will not be rejected for inappropriate reasons. And we are going to try to communicate to all of the people what information they should put on their applications and have the Visa Application Center check that out, because a lot of rejections occur because the information is incomplete. So those are the sort of on-the-ground things that we are doing to improve it. Because I agree with you, Chandigarh for many years has been a big problem, and I hear about it frequently. And so we're working hard to improve the situation.
So you're aware of it, and are you changing the staff?
I'm acutely aware of it. Yes.
So is there anything being immediately done so the people can get visas to come into the funeral or to attend marriages? Or
Well, my office deals with cases, and we often refer them back to reconsideration, especially for funerals or for people with very ill relatives, this kind of thing. For weddings, the people should apply early enough, because often you get notice in advance for weddings, less so for funerals. So we are working on those specific cases from my office, and certainly all the MPs are as well. But in terms of specific measures, we're reinforcing the numbers in Chandigarh of people to deal with the huge number of increase in applications, and we are going to be changing the rules and making sure that people are told what information to present, so that they won't be told that the information is incomplete.
last time I talked to you on the phone for the radio interview, you said by September we'll see a major change in spousal sponsorship, or the applications for the spouses being processed quickly.
I'm not sure right now. It'll be September. It'll certainly be the fall. We are working very hard to reduce the backlog, and then in the fall I will be announcing a new system which will be a substantial improvement in the processing times. But we have to reduce the backlog substantially before we're ready to launch a new system, and I believe that will occur in the fall.
And also a large group of nannies, probably they have also approached you. They are complaining that it took a long time for them, and some of their spouses are living in India, and some are even getting divorced as a result of this delay. Anything being done for the nannies?
Well, I was just in the Philippines, and we discussed that, and I've spoken to nannies as well. The processing times are coming down. I know they're still too high, but they are coming down. And you know, the Philippines have nannies going all over the world, and they told me that they are treated well in Canada compared with other places where they've often been treated badly. We could improve too, but compared with other places, I think they're doing well. But we have to get those times down, because as you say, people are waiting for a long time. Sometimes they haven't seen their children for so long, and the children almost grow up without the mother. So that's a problem.
And Minister, are you doing something about the Quebec investors program? Because in a way, some critics are saying it's Canada's immigration for sale. And
Well,
they're coming in Quebec, then they're coming to BC.
Well, the short answer is we're not, because under the Quebec-Canada Accord that was signed in Brian Mulroney's time, Quebec pretty well runs the show for its immigration, subject to certain limits. And once people are accepted into Canada as immigrants, the Constitution says they have free mobility. So they may land in Quebec, they may land in BC, and they may choose to go somewhere else. So that's not really something that we control, because that's a constitutional right of all citizens and permanent residents.
Or, okay, I understand, but can you give the same powers to BC that the Quebec has?
BC, I think, has those same powers if they choose to exercise them.
No, British Columbia doesn't have as independent authority as Quebec has.
Oh, no, we're not going to give that same global authority. This was a special deal worked out with Quebec decades ago. British Columbia has a lot of authority under the provincial nominee program, but not to the degree of Quebec. We think there is an important role for the federal government in immigration for the country as a whole. I work very well with British Columbia. The minister and I get along very well. We don't always agree on everything, but I think we have the same overall objectives for immigration.
Okay, Minister, we've been hearing from here and there that the laws of citizenship has been changed. The previous government has increased the time frame to obtain citizenship. You have reversed it back.
Yes.
Is it passed or in the middle somewhere? Is it in the process? What's the actual position right
Okay,
now?
well, I'm proud of that. We're reinstating the position that all Canadians are equal. Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. We're reducing the time for citizenship by 1 year. We're limiting the language test application to older people. We're reducing the requirement for older people. It has passed through the House of Commons. It still has to go through the Senate to become the law of the land. It will be debated and I assume passed by the Senate in the fall. So I am very hopeful it will be the law of the land before the end of the year. We do not control the Senate, but I believe and hope that the Senate will pass this bill quite soon.
I want to tell you one thing, Minister, that LMIA that you issues are being sold in black market for $45,000 each. And there are a lot of consultants, a lot of other people involved in that process. Are you aware of this? That LMIA that you issue are being sold?
Well, if that's the case, it's against the law. And we now regulate consultants, and we have people on the lookout for fraudulent behavior and people who are breaking the law. And if we find such people and can prove it, we'll take them to court. And because the integrity of our system is important, and if it's being challenged or abused in that way, we want to punish the people, get to the bottom of it.
Now, some of the consultants are very ethical, but some of the consultants are not ethical. Your system to kind of weed them out hasn't really properly worked. I mean, when you're issuing these LMIAs, why can't you put the name on there? Take simple precautions so they can't be sold to other people.
Well, look, I will look into this, and we will try to solve this and get to the bottom of it, because it is unacceptable if LMIAs are sold in the way that you describe.
So for a person who has come here and remained in the country for 3 years, he's eligible for citizenship, I understand, according to this bill that's going to be passed
Yes.
by the Senate.
Yes.
But a lot of people are working in such a way, they drive trucks, they go to United States, 10 days out of month they're living there, or they're working there, driving truck, and they're mobile. So those days will be counted in for citizenship? They're out of the country?
Right now, no, those days are not counted. I think this is one thing we might change, because I know I have heard of truck drivers in this situation, and it seems to me that if they are working for a Canadian company and their work takes them out of the country for certain periods of time, perhaps that should not be held against them. Right now it is, but that is something we are investigating. But it is important to have the requirement to be in Canada a certain number of days, because we don't want citizens of convenience. We want people who are real citizens. So in general, I support this principle, but in the particular case of people working for a Canadian company required to be out of the country for a time, perhaps that should not be held against them.
Is there anything you would like to say in closing to our audience?
Well, I would just like to say that I'm working very hard as immigration minister. We definitely want to bring down the processing time for families. That was all the attention was given to refugees, and they're important, but probably our single most important campaign commitment was to bring down those processing times. We're going to make life easier for international students to come to Canada. We are going to streamline the system so that Canada can attract the best and the brightest into our country. So we're working very hard to improve the system. We've made some progress in some areas, but there's a lot of work still to do.
So we should expect this fall things will improve?
Yes, certainly you should expect this fall that we will announce a new system for spouses. We will announce levels of immigration for the next year or 2 or 3, and we will be making life easier for international students to become permanent residents, and we will be streamlining the system in various ways to make it more flexible and more able to recruit top people.
Minister, thank you very much. I really
Pleasure to
appreciate
be
it.
with you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.